Well, he's articulated his thoughts in two areas of foreign policy. One is trade, and the other is burden sharing or alliance relationship. On trade, I think, according to his own say-so, we're going to see more trade friction, and we're going to see a deterioration in trade relationships. Now, he views that as a positive. On the alliance relationships, he's pushed burden sharing, even to the point of saying he'd be comfortable with Japan developing its own nuclear capability, and even South Korea going down that part. So that's what he said to date. If he'll evolve a bit in the next 6 months, we'll have to wait and see.
And the Democratic frontrunner Hillary Clinton, if she was to become the next president of the United States, should we expect a continuation of President Obama's policy outlook in Asia, a continuation of the so-called pivot to Asia?
Yeah, I think we know a lot more about Hillary Clinton because she served as Secretary of State for 4 years, so she ran that Asia policy, and I think you have to say, yes, we're likely to see a broad continuation. I think the question mark with Hillary Clinton is, remember, she helped author the U.S.-Asia Free Trade Agreement, TPP, and then she disavowed it.
That's why she's backpedaled.
So it raises questions about her consistency, right, and where does she ultimately stand with regard to trade and improving trade relations in Asia. And I think that's more of a question mark now than it was a year ago. Now, I think what her team will say is, look, Bernie Sanders in the primary campaign pulled her a bit to the left. She's not entirely comfortable there, but she's going to have to bridge the two Hillarys, right? The Hillary from when she was Secretary of State and the Hillary when she was a primary candidate.
And there's also bridging the Donald Trump as a candidate, and Donald Trump if he becomes the president of the United States. I mean, he's done a lot of China bashing on the campaign trail. Those inflammatory comments about China trade, accusing China of raping the United States. We've heard that before, not that choice of language, but China bashing on the campaign trail. If Donald Trump becomes president, what would happen to U.S.-China trade?
Well, the biggest question mark with Donald Trump are his policies as president going to be as severe, as categorical, some of his rhetoric. Some of his rhetoric was pretty flamboyant. All right, and he might say, well, that's necessary in a primary context. We simply don't know if he would govern precisely the same as he acted when he was a candidate. If so, I think we're in for a lot of friction. I think we're going to see a sharp deterioration in the trade relationship, an absolute drop in trade, and I think you're going to see a reaction from China as well. They're not going to sit still and be on the receiving end of whatever ill will he generates.
When you talk to government officials in the region, are they nervous about the prospects of a President
I think
Trump?
more sort of mystified or perplexed. I mean, they understand that the U.S. race has a lot of to's and fro's to it, and people sometimes pivot or make statements, they climb back. So don't rush to judgment. I'd say give it some time. Here's what I tell our friends in the region. Take a look at the National Party conventions. The Republican convention and the Democratic convention are when these two candidates really speak to the nation as presidential candidates. That's when they define themselves and present themselves. That's when we, as Americans, appropriately look for them to act presidential and to speak to the entire country. So wait till that moment comes before drawing conclusions about what kind of president either of them would be.
So wait and see and watch. Is that really giving them enough comfort?
But that's only 2 months till the Republicans, a little bit more for the Democrats. You don't have to wait till the fellow sworn in, but give it time to see can they rise to the moment that's required.
Gotcha. Now, we know that the people of the Philippines, they went to the polls today. Just how critical is the strategic relationship between the U.S. and the Philippines? How closely are U.S. officials watching the returns from that election?
Oh, I think it's huge. Look, the Philippines and the United States are treaty allies. They have a formal mutual security pact where they're committed to come to each other's support. So the United States has enormous interest, not just historical legacy. There's a lot of sentiment there and a lot of emotional connectivity as well. But there's a formal treaty allies as well. So that's the highest you can go in international relations.